What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Alright guys, so we are going to jump back into more Ultimate Marvel because you guys been liking my Ultimate Marvel videos. So we're going to jump back into more Ultimate Marvel, but this time guys, we are going to cover Ultimate X-Men. That's right, Ultimate X-Men Volume 1. Now guys, this storyline takes place in issue number 1 through 6. As a matter of fact guys, this storyline right here takes place before the Ultimates Volume 1 and Volume 2. So guys, I really do hope you enjoy this video, but if you do, please leave me a like and subscribe for more Ultimate Marvel in the near future. Now anyways guys, let's go ahead and dive into Ultimate X-Men Volume 1. Here we go guys. Now guys, when it came to Ultimate X-Men issue number 1, with this book right here, when it dropped back in the year 2001, there was a lot of pressure on this book because this book had to introduce us to new characters in the Ultimate Marvel universe. For a while there, all we had was Ultimate Spider-Man, and that was it. And so when Ultimate X-Men dropped, it was kind of like, okay, Marvel wants to build up this Ultimate Universe, and now they have their second title, Ultimate X-Men, and it makes sense to give fans X-Men and Spider-Man, your two best titles in the main Marvel timeline back in the early 2000s. Now, with Ultimate X-Men issue number 1, we come to find out two huge things in the opening pages. The first thing is that right now, the human race hates on the mutants already. There's no build up to that moment right there. They already hate the mutant race. Matter of fact, they have already made the Sentinel Project to go across America to kill off mutants. And the thing is guys, that is huge because there's no build up to that moment. We jump right in the middle of this huge battle between the humans and the mutants. Now, the second thing I do want to point out is Magneto, because we get introduced to Magneto in the Ultimate Marvel timeline. And the thing is guys, in Ultimate Marvel, he is a terrorist. He wants to wipe out the human race completely. Like wipe them out completely and replace them with the mutant race. And so right now to America, they are trying to find a way to attack him in the Savage Land to get rid of Magneto, this huge powerful terrorist. Now we do jump over to Jean Grey. Now guys, this right here is kind of cool because we are now being introduced to the first class X-Men in Ultimate Marvel. You have Jean Grey going around to San Diego, to Texas, and New York and recruiting Colossus, Storm, and Beast. And the thing is guys, she brings them back to the X-Mansion and we get introduced to the Ultimate X-Men First Class. Cyclops, Jean Grey, Colossus, Storm, and Beast. Now guys, this is honestly pretty cool because it's Marvel saying, let's give fans the more popular characters, which is Storm, Colossus, Cyclops, Jean Grey. Now, for me, I don't really like Beast that much, but it makes sense to throw Beast in there also because in some X-Men fans, they love Beast. So throw Beast in there also, another popular character. Let's give them the more popular X-Men characters as the Ultimate X-Men First Class. It makes sense. Now, they do get introduced to Charles Xavier. And the thing is, guys, we come to find out that Charles Xavier, he has the same dream like the main Marvel Charles Xavier. He wants to have mutants and humans live together in harmony. They want to work together with each other. That's what he wants, just like his main Marvel counterpart. Now, he does tell us this right here. He does say, listen, I used to work with Magneto, but things went south, and thanks to him, he is the reason why I got paralyzed, because his anger basically led him to attack me to the point where now I'm paralyzed in a wheelchair. Now, we do have Charles Xavier tell us this right here. He says, listen, I found you guys with Cerebro. I can never pronounce that. I was able to find you guys with my machine. And the thing is, I have found another person to join the team. His name is Bobby Drake. And so you have the First Class X-Men go on their first mission to recruit Bobby Drake, but to also save him from the Sentinel on his way to kill him. And so in the first issue, you're getting to see the First Class X-Men work together to save Bobby Drake, to fight against some random Sentinels to save Bobby Drake. It's kind of cool to see this. In the first issue, we get to see Ultimate X-Men First Class. Now, before we wrap up Ultimate X-Men issue number 1, you do have the X-Men save Bobby Drake and take him back to the X-Mansion to basically build up this roster even more. But the thing is, we now jump over to Magneto, because now Magneto heard about Charles Xavier's new team, the X-Men. He's kind of like, crap. Charles Xavier had basically released his new team, the X-Men, to fight against me. That's not cool. So I need to get rid of Charles Xavier. I need to send in an assassin to kill off Charles Xavier. And so you have Magneto call up the one person he believes that can kill Charles Xavier. That one person is Wolverine. And he says, Wolverine, I need you to go in there and kill Charles Xavier. And that wraps up issue number 1. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate X-Men issue number 2, with this book right here, this book does pick up with Wolverine arriving into New York to begin his mission to kill off Charles Xavier. Now, Wolverine is introduced to some random character that Magneto sent to help him fight against Charles Xavier and the X-Men to kill off Charles Xavier. Now, as Wolverine and this random character are leaving the airport, Wolverine and the random character do get gunned down by some random men. Some random characters just out of nowhere pull their gun out and start to shoot down on Wolverine, to the point that Wolverine is lying on the ground trying to recover, trying to heal up from his wounds. And so right before we jump over to the X-Men, we come to find out the men who shot down at Wolverine, they work for Weapon X. And guys, we get introduced to Weapon X in Ultimate Marvel. Now, we do jump over to the X-Men because right now they are enjoying a day off. They're out there doing random things. They're having a good day until Charles Xavier is kind of like, hey, X-Men, I need you guys to meet me in the library because we need to talk, because I found another mutant to join the team. Now, you do have the X-Men arrive at the library with Charles Xavier. They're kind of like, hey man, what's going on? Who is this new mutant? And you have Charles say, listen, it's Wolverine. Now, that name right there, it freaks out Cyclops. It freaks out Jean Grey because they know who Wolverine is. Because guys, in Ultimate Marvel, Wolverine is the #1 assassin in the world. And so hearing that name, Cyclops and Jean Grey, they're kind of like, excuse me? You want us to get who? Wolverine? Have you lost your dang mind? Like, why him? And the thing is, you have Storm Colossus and Iceman and Beast kind of like, yo, who in the world is Wolverine? And so you have Cyclops explain who he is. He's kind of like, hey, he's the #1 assassin in the world. Matter of fact, no one has seen him except one time in a photo, but it was a blurry photo and that was it. And so you have Cyclops ask Charles one more time, are you sure that you want us to go get Wolverine? And you have Charles say, yes, go get Wolverine. And the X-Men leave. Now, we do jump back over to Wolverine because right now he is locked in a cage in the back of a truck because Weapon X are planning to take him back to base, wipe his mind, and use him again as their assassin. Now, on their way back to base. Of course, the X-Men do arrive to save Wolverine. You do have Wolverine get all angry and he wants to kill almost every single person there because he's kind of like, hey, you know, they tried to kidnap me. Thanks for saving me, X-Men, but I want to get rid of all these people. Of course, Jean Grey's like, no, we do not kill. We're here to save you, but we're not going to let you kill these people off. And you have Jean Grey knock out Wolverine, put him in the Blackbird to fly back home to the X-Mansion. Those few pages, that's all what happens in those pages right there. Now, we do jump over to Magneto to wrap up issue number 2, because the thing is, you have Toad ask Magneto who called in Weapon X. How were they able to find Wolverine? Because all these years they have never been able to locate Wolverine, and somehow they were able to finally locate Wolverine. And so you have Magneto say, I called Weapon X, because there's no way that Wolverine could walk to the front door of Charles Xavier's base and be like, hey Charles, let me join the X-Men. Wolverine needed a reason to be saved to join the X-Men, and that's why I called in Weapon X. So while Charles is trying to help Wolverine, that gives us time for our main target to attack the White House. And that wraps up issue number 2. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate X-Men issue number 3, with this book right here, this book does pick up a few days after Ultimate X-Men issue number 2. Now, it does start off a little bit weird because we pick up with Wolverine killing the X-Men. He is killing Cyclops, Jean Grey, Colossus, Iceman, Beast, Storm. He is dismantling the X-Men completely to the point where it's just Charles Xavier to fight against Wolverine. And it's kind of weird because thing is, if you look at this, Marvel launched Ultimate X-Men, a brand new title for fans to read, and they're killing the X-Men off by the 3rd book. It's kind of weird, but we come to find out that this right here was just a danger room exercise. That basically Beast had made the danger room to test out the X-Men's strength and weaknesses, and he gave Wolverine the first attempt of the danger room. And so we come to find out the X-Men are not dead, they are alive. The X-Men that Wolverine killed were just computer data basically. Now, you do have Iceman rush into the danger room. He's kind of like, hey, Charles, X-Men, we gotta go. Because he comes to find out that the Brotherhood of Mutants, who works for Magneto, they have kidnapped the president's daughter as a way to get the president to stop making the Sentinel Project. And so you have the X-Men saying, this is our chance right here. If we can save the president's daughter from Magneto and his Brotherhood of Mutants, we can show the world that all mutants are not evil, that there are good mutants out there. This is our chance. And so the second half of this book is basically the X-Men fighting against the Brotherhood of Mutants. Now, real quick side note, guys, because you're going to see Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in this story a lot. And the thing is, guys, when it comes to Ultimates Volume 1 and Volume 2, the 2 storylines we have already covered on my channel, those 2 storylines right there, they take place way after this storyline right here. So this storyline right here takes place before Ultimates Volume 1. So that's why you see Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver here and not with the Ultimates. Now, like I said, the second half of issue number 3 is the Ultimates X-Men fighting against the Ultimate Brotherhood of Mutants. Now guys, second side note real quick is Wolverine. Wolverine agreed to help the X-Men to fight against the Brotherhood of Mutants. And thing is, it's not weird, it's not strange, it's smart. Even though Wolverine is technically working for Magneto, it would look weird for him to say, hey, listen, Cyclops and the others, You guys can go out there and fight against Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and blah, and whoever. I'ma stay here with Charles Xavier. That would look weird for him to do that, because he was sent by Magneto to kill off Charles. And so with him helping the X-Men out by fighting against the Brotherhood of Mutants, is him saying, I'm making the X-Men believe that I want to stay. I want to help them. And with them believing that, they'll let their guard down. And when they do that right there, that's when I can strike to kill Charles Xavier. That's the only reason why I'm here right now with them on this mission. Now, to wrap up issue number 3, you do have the X-Men able to save the president's daughter, to get her out of safety. The thing is though, Storm calls up the rest of the X-Men and say, listen, I found Beast, but it looks like he's dead. And so it's kind of like, this could be our first X-Men to die in Ultimate X-Men right here. But that wraps up issue number 3. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate X-Men issue number 4, with this book right here, this book does pick up where Ultimate X-Men issue number 3 left off at. Now, you do have Cyclops asking Storm if it is true that Beast is dead. He wants to know, because if it is true, we have our first death in X-Men comics right here with the death of Beast. Now, you do have Storm tell Cyclops, listen, she has no clue, because right now Beast is not breathing. He has no pulse, but she's not for sure that Beast is dead yet. And so you have Cyclops saying, we need to get Beast out of here. We need to come back home so Charles Xavier can look at him. Now, here comes a bigger problem for the X-Men, because while the X-Men were fighting against the Brotherhood of Mutants, they were fighting in the middle of a city. And in this city, you have people. You have people who hate mutants. And so now the X-Men are fighting against people from two fronts, the Brotherhood of Mutants and the human race who hates mutants. And so now you got humans shooting at the X-Men. And so now you have Cyclops, Iceman, Colossus, Jean Grey, Wolverine, just trying to fight against two different battles. Now, luckily for the X-Men, Magneto does arrive. He basically takes care of the humans, and he tells his people, the Brotherhood of Mutants, to stop fighting the X-Men. But after he does those things, Magneto does fly down to talk to Cyclops one-on-one, because he's trying to show Cyclops that no matter what he does for Charles Xavier, there will never be a world where humans and mutants can live together in peace. It will never happen. And so Magneto's saying, listen, look around you. You were shot at. You were trying to help a human, and other humans shot at you. Your brothers and your sisters, they are dying in the streets across the world by the human race. No matter what you do, we will never have a world where humans and mutants can live together in peace. It's Magneto trying to convince Cyclops that you need to join my side so we can wipe out the human race. Now, we do jump back over to the X-Mansion, because you now have Charles Xavier and Jean Grey trying to save Beast's life. Now, Jean Grey and Charles Xavier, they're not doctors, they're not surgeons, but they are able to read the minds of different doctors across the world to figure out, to find a way to save Beast's life. And the thing is, guys, they do it. But there is one side effect. The method they use, this new test they did, it comes with a side effect. Beast, his fur, his body will start to turn blue, like the main Marvel timeline Beast, the blue fur Beast. Now, you do have Jean Grey go outside in the garden, and she's talking to Wolverine. Now, they do go back and forth in this book, but basically, after a couple pages, you do have Wolverine make his move on Jean Grey, and it seems like they could become a couple in Ultimate X-Men comics, because of course they do start kissing, and we have no idea what happens next, but we can guess. Now, to wrap up issue number 4, we do jump over to Charles Xavier because he's now talking to one of the assistants of the president. And basically, this assistant is telling Charles that they have been invited to the White House to talk about dismantling the Sentinel Project. This is a big moment to Charles Xavier because his dream might come true. A world where humans and mutants might live together. The thing is though, to wrap up issue number 4, you have Cyclops walk up to Charles Xavier and he tells Charles that he is leaving the X-Men. Because after seeing Jean Grey and Wolverine making out in the garden and also finding out that Magneto might be right, there's no way that humans and mutants can live together. You have Cyclops leave the X-Men. He flies over to the Savage Land, the place where Magneto is hiding at, and says, I'm here to help you, Magneto. Let's get to work. Let's get to work together. And that wraps up issue number 4. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate X-Men issue number 5, with this book right here, this book does pick up a couple days after Ultimate X-Men issue number 4. Now, you do have the Brotherhood of Mutants continue their attack against the human race. But this time, they start bombing London. And so you have Cyclops helping the Brotherhood of Mutants bomb London. The thing is though, you have Cyclops starting to realize that he made the wrong choice by joining Magneto's side. Because the Brotherhood of Mutants, they are killing innocent people, men, women, and possibly children. And so you have Cyclops kind of like, did I make the right choice by leaving the X-Men to join Magneto's side? Did I do the right thing? And you even have Magneto trying to convince Scott, listen, you made the right choice by joining me, Magneto. Now, one big thing I do want to discuss real quick in this book, because in this book right here, we come to find out that Magneto, he hates his own children. He hates Scarlet Witch. He hates Quicksilver because he slept with a human 15 years ago, whatever, and gave birth to those two characters right there. And so he is saying, listen, they are my kids, but I do not like Scarlet Witch. I do not like Quicksilver. I hate them because they are technically from a human person. Now, we do jump over to the White House. And the thing is, like I said in my last part of this video, back in issue number 4, the X-Men were invited to the White House to start talking about ending the Sentinel Project. The thing is, as soon as the X-Men arrive at the White House, you do have the American government sit down with Charles Xavier, Beast, Storm, Colossus, and Iceman and say, listen, we are happy that you're here because you did save the president's daughter. Good job with that right there. But we also want to tell you we were able to locate Magneto's base in the Savage Land. And so right now, we are going to send every single Sentinel against Magneto to kill the #1 terrorist in the world right now, which by the way is him. Now, as soon as Charles Xavier hears that, he's kind of like, listen, you do not want to do that because if you do, this will begin a war and you guys will lose that war against Magneto. But you have the American government say, no, we are going to attack Magneto tonight. Send every single thing we have against him. And so to wrap up part 5, you do jump back over to the Savage Land where the mutants are just enjoying a nice peaceful day. They're kind of like, yeah, we're free, man. Nobody's gonna hit us because we got Magneto protecting us. But of course, out of nowhere, the Sentinels do arrive at the Savage Land to begin their attack against Magneto and his forces. Now, since these robots are basically metal, you do have Magneto able to stop every single one of them. But he then changed their program to say, don't look for mutants, look for humans instead. And so when Charles Xavier said, you do not want to send an army against Magneto, because if you do, it will begin a war. And with book number 5 closes, that war has now begun, with the Sentinels no longer looking for mutants, but now looking for humans, thanks to Magneto changing their program. And as soon as that happened, you have Cyclops call up Charles Xavier and saying, we have a problem. We need to stop Magneto now. And basically, that is that is Cyclops rejoining the X-Men. And that wraps up issue number 5. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate X-Men number 6, with this book right here, this book does wrap everything up. It's the ultimate ending for volume 1 of Ultimate X-Men. Now, you do have Wolverine tell Jean Grey, hey, listen, I was sent here by Magneto to kill off Charles Xavier. I was not sent here to help you guys. I was sent here to kill off your leader. But the one night I spent with you, Jean Grey, it changed my mind. It made me believe in Charles Xavier's dream that mutants and humans can live together in peace. Now, you do have Xavier tell every single person in Washington, D.C., he tells every single member of the X-Men that Magneto is coming. He is coming to Washington as a one-man army, and we need all hands on deck. We need all innocent people out of here, because when he gets here, it is going down. And the thing is, Charles Xavier is right. Magneto is a one-man army, but he is doing a lot of work being by himself. Now, you do have Quicksilver listen to Cyclops' words, because Cyclops told Quicksilver, we need your help. Your dad is going to make things 10 times worse today. We need your help to finally stop your father. And so after a few pages of the X-Men trying to fight against Magneto, matter of fact, you even have Wolverine stab Magneto not once but twice to show Magneto that he is no longer helping him. He's now helping the X-Men, that he now believes in Charles Xavier's dream. But you have Magneto still standing strong, fighting against the X-Men until Quicksilver was able to take off the helmet of Magneto. Now guys, when it comes to the helmet of Magneto, that was the one thing that was blocking Charles Xavier's powers. That was the one thing that stopped Charles from shutting the mind down of Magneto. But with the helmet gone, Charles Xavier can now reach Magneto's mind. Now, this right here, guys, is really messed up, because you have Xavier use his powers to make Magneto use his own powers to make himself a bomb, to basically make himself as some kind of magnetic bomb to kill himself, because Charles realized there's only one way to finally end this battle between him and Magneto. He has to kill him off. He has to kill the one person he used to call his best friend. And so you have Charles use his powers to make Magneto turn himself into a magnetic bomb, and he blows up. And that's the end of Magneto. Now, to wrap this video up, you do have the X-Men go back home to the X-Mansion. They're all kind of like, hey, we won, we're playing games, watching TV. Wolverine has been forgiven by most members except Jean Grey, but he has now been forgiven, and Cyclops has rejoined the X-Men. We are all good. And that kind of wraps up volume 1 of Ultimate X-Men. But volume 2, we are going to see the return of Weapon X officially. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. Please leave me a like down below and also subscribe for more comic book videos in the near future. But anyways, guys, I'm out of here and I'll see y'all in the next comic book video.